All right, let's start. So, hey everybody, really excited to have all of you today here. We'll try to provide as much value as possible. I think what we're going to speak today, me and Henrik, is very kind of complementary and continues the same phase. So I'll speak about the product validation, actually, the first phase, basically, when you have an idea, you have prototype, how you could validate your product, your concepts, how you can understand, how well you're doing, whether there's a demand in the market, who are your customers, whether they why they wanna buy it, why they don't wanna buy it, etc., etc. So, as Daniel mentioned, I'm the co-founder and CEO of prelaunch.com, and let me share my screen and just start the presentation. All right, so 1 second. All right, so look at these two products. I'm typically starting my presentation from these two products. And on the left side, you basically see the product called Raven. It's a smart helmet for motorcycles. It has camera, it records front and rear. It has, smart VR features, AR features. All the riders can connect to each other. And on the right side, we have Blank Mask, which is a mask designed for privacy reasons, and it covers your face, so you're not caught under the cameras. Some people find use for it. So in the chat, put what do you think? Which product was more successful? One is Raven, and second is Blank Mask. Just real quick, like one or two. Yeah, just going over the products. Most of them are Raven. Kind of a little bit blocks me. Yeah. So these are the results actually, and the Blank Mask was 5 times as successful as Raven actually, because of many reasons. Like the right reasons, I don't really know, but the result is that for some reason people don't want it to buy. It could be the price, it could be the design, it could be the competition, it could be a lot of things. And a simple thing like this Blank Mask, which might seem silly to many of you, including me, was really successful product. Like, they crashed it, did a lot of, cool launch, build a great brand, and then continued to selling and then increasing scaling into the markets. So this happens many times, and this is me 7 years ago, and before I was a kind of prediction guru, and a lot of people were approaching me and asking, like, what do you think about this product, what I think about their concepts. And then I was like super confident, I was very bold, I was trying to tell them, these products are good, it's a great idea, do something else, it's not a great idea, etc., etc. And then I was seeing that most of my predictions were wrong, actually. And I was super surprised. Why is that the case? Because I was like pretty experienced. I was like many years in the hardware industry and like was really familiar with a lot of industry trends. And the idea is because market is pretty much unpredictable and nobody really knows which product will succeed, including some of the biggest brands in the world. So this is me today. And then whenever somebody asks me what I think about their products, I'm typically answering, I don't know, and only let's check the data. And only after checking the data, I could really answer whether this product has a potential or not. And today we're going to speak about like what is the data and what kind of data you should pay attention to, how to accurately measure the market interest, how to find out who are your customers, how to understand the pricing, how to understand some of the metrics and what metrics you should measure on, etc. And we basically took these whole practices that we've been doing to the science level, I'd say. So first, let's cover things that you shouldn't do. I think that's the first thing. And the number one mistake that we see that many creators, product managers and innovators, creative people are doing is going outside to their friends, to their family, or to random people and asking, would you buy this if we produce this product? And this is a very wrong product, a very wrong question to ask around, because pretty much, relying on opinions is very risky, because people are not doing what they say, okay? And in many cases, they might say, yes, that's a great idea. We're going to buy this, do it, and give you a lot of positivity. But when you'll go and produce it, nobody will end up buying it. And this is happening in a lot of time. Instead, one thing that we figured out that's working really well is that you flip it around and rephrase these questions like this. If you buy this, we're going to produce it. Okay. So in this case, you're relying not on their opinions, but you're relying on their behavior, and behavior-based practices is what we're going to speak about today. And measuring the behavior is much more powerful, much more reliable and credible, because typically it's very much reflects their real desires. So one of the ways to understand the behavior is this fake door testing, which is very, very common, and many companies are doing it, including the big ones. And typically how it works is that you create this landing page, you put down a product, description of it, and then you have the pricing, and then you simulate a kind of a real e-commerce page, basically. Then when people are buying, you immediately refund them, but based on the results, you pretty much understand how well you're doing. And as a result, you understand if you want to, move forward, produce the product or not. So it has some really great implications, but there are some problems with fake door testings, particularly because it's fake and customers are feeling disappointed after getting immediate refund. So they understand that, this was a kind of a gimmick, a game, and it was not a real purchase, real buy. So they are getting frustrated. A brand's image suffer from this fake e-commerce store. So you basically can't put your brands in the store. You can't establish really strong relationship with customers because you basically just kind of, lied them, and then they're feeling frustrated about it. And then companies don't really know the industry magic. So you can even see, like 3 people are buying your product, but you don't know if it's good or bad. This is why we recommend pre-launching instead of the fake door testing. And pre-launching is a way where you just ask for a small amount of deposits at an earlier stage, and then very transparently you tell them that this product doesn't exist yet, but if you put down small amount of money like $5, $10, $20, depending on the price, you'll reserve a discount or a cool perk if we produce this product in the future. And this helps you understand, like, people's commitment. This helps you get people on board, ask them questions, engage them into the discussion, as we call it, into co-creation, where people literally help you build the product. So you basically co-create this product together with your real customers because you already vet them at a very early stage. So all the data that they give you is very much credible, very much reliable, because whenever somebody is pulling out their credit card and giving you even $1, that beats everything, all the opinions, all the surveys, all the focus groups, and is much more reliable. So this is why we built pre-launch, and pre-launch is basically a platform for pre-launching. So I'm going to show you a couple of practices and methods and models that we're using at pre-launch. But mostly I want you to pay attention to the methodologies, because we've been doing this for 4 years and we've perfected it. There are like a lot of nuances in here. You might use the pre-launch platform, or you might do it on your own website, but this methodology and sticking to the main practices is really important, and we believe are going to help you a lot. So let me share my another screen and just show you what it looks like. So typically it works like this. Like on the first page, you create this high-level concept of the product. So this is a night vision camera from a very famous Japanese brand. And on the first page, they showcase the idea, the concept of the product. Okay. So they show the advantages, the main benefits, the specs. Notice that there is no pricing information on the first page. So there is no price. And then it's just a concept description. And then it says, if you put down your email, if you subscribe to this, you'll learn more about this product, okay? So you stay informed. And if you're really interested to learn more about this product, you go to the second page. This way, we get signals that people are interested to the high-level concept of the product. On the second page, we show them the pricing. So we tell that the price of this product is $250. And if you put down $2 reservation deposit, you'll get this product at $119. So you basically get a significant discount if this product is ever released into the market. So by putting this $2, you lock this discount. And if this product is produced, you're getting a discount. On a consumer side, it's pretty safe, and this is typically one of the advantages of pre-launch, because we, as a middleman and the third party kind of company, we keep them in our escrow account, so we don't give it to brands until they start the shipping. So you as a customer, if you really like this night vision camera, you can cancel and receive a full refund whenever you change your mind. And if the brand decides to not move on with the production, it's also pretty much okay with the customers. So everybody will receive a full refund. And they know it firsthand, so they know it very transparently, and they understand that there is a chance that this product is not getting produced, but everybody will not lose anything, so they'll get a full refund. There is this no thanks button in here. So this is for those folks who, like, they see the price and they don't want to proceed. It opens up a survey and will prompt users to answer some of the questions, like what stopped them from reserving this product. Then it will continue to ask some of other questions to better understand, like, what was the real reasons why they didn't want to proceed. So then this is the dashboard that creators see. Besides the main analytical and statistical data, one of the key advantages at pre-launch that we understood is that we need to understand the benchmarks. So we use this smart benchmarking to understand, like, how well you're doing on your concept side, how well you're doing on your pricing side. We have this pre-launch score, which is an accumulation of 35 different metrics. You could have a really good concept score, but your pricing might be low. This means that people really like your idea, but they don't want to pay the amount. This means that something is wrong with your pricing, okay? So you go ahead and you change the pricing, you play with it, you increase it, you decrease it until you see that things are getting improved. Or if you see that the concept is low and the pricing is high, this means that the concept is not interesting for many people, but whoever is coming to the second page, they mostly buy it. So it might mean you have a really niche type of product. So we have a lot of metrics in here, like you could get a lot of analytics integrated, and then we made everything in one dashboard. So you can change the pricing, the colors. We pull out a lot of data from Facebook and Google to show you how well you're doing, like the advertising data. And then another thing I wanted to show you, which is my favorite dashboard, is this consumer dashboard. So as I said, whenever somebody is reserving the product, we pop up a survey and we ask them, the first thing we ask them is why you did this. What was your main motivation of reserving this product? So this is a very powerful question, and typically we recommend to keep it open and let people write what they really think about it, so you don't kind of guide them and mislead them. And these are open answers, and we have these AI systems which takes the data and analyze it, so you could and then group it according to several groups, so you understand it, like, just right away. But you'll see a lot of insights. So you'll see the main data in here, like what's the main reason on why people are reserving this product. Then we try to understand their needs and demands. So we basically ask them, can you provide the names of any similar products you recently purchased? This is also a really good question to understand your competition, like what direct and indirect competitors you have, like how people perceive your product, okay? Then we ask them how often you're using this product. You might think that it's very natural, but you figure out a lot of surprises when you ask these use cases and usage data to your potential customers. Then product characteristics, how this will impact your life. This is a really good question because this helps us reveal some of the really hidden kind of insights that people are having, and for some reason you as a marketeer, as a product manager, might not really know about all of this. And like how you could make it better, ranking the benefits, etc., etc. What are your top hobbies? So all of these are really good questions. Then this is the objections groups, and as I said, these are the people who hit this no thank you button, and sometimes they are even more important and more critical than the people who already bought, because it's typically a bigger segment and you can find a lot of interesting insights by exploring their answers. So basically you'll ask like what stops them from reserving this product, and sometimes it can be the price, but not always. So it might be you don't have enough information, might be the security, might be the limited availability of the product, the value is unclear, and all of these give you insights on how you could get back and improve the product. On pre-launch, you can also see on this right side, you'll see their actual answers. So we pull out the most interesting data and show it to you right away, so you don't go and dig across all of this data. But you will see them in a grouped way. And if you are interested to understand the details, you can basically go and see like the details, etc. So one last thing I wanted to show you is this psychographic data of potential customers. So we asked these two questions that I really like, and you can squeeze and get a lot of insights from these two questions. Like we asked them, how much do you agree with this statement that my friends and colleagues often seek my advice before buying similar products or innovations? So this helps us. Why we are asking this question? We want to learn as much information about our customers as possible, and this helps us understand if we're dealing with influencers, people who are impacting to the decision-making ability of their network, etc., and or not, right? So like we're basically drawing their psychographic image. And in here you see that most of the answers are in the middle, so it's kind of not in the either of the extremes. This means that we're dealing pretty much a homogeneous group of people. And then we ask, I'm like, how much do you agree that you're typically the first person to buy the latest innovations in this category? And this helps us to understand if we're dealing with early adopters or late adopters, early majority, or these kind of segments. And basically, if we see a really high concentration in here, which they agree, it means that yes, they are like more early adopters in here. And if we see a more homogeneous distribution, it means the product is more of a mass market, and you have many groups of people buying your products. This helps you understand the scalability of your product, understand how much overall you could scale it. Is it a niche market or it's pretty much scalable? And this is a really helpful data to understand all this. So we use all this data to create these customer personas later on, to clusterize them with machine learning, vectoring, to understand what kind of clusters you have, what kind of use cases they have, what kind of social channels they are hanging out. And you use all this data not only for product and market, not only for marketing purposes, but also for the product teams. This is really important to understand for whom you're building like your innovations. So these techniques are really powerful. You could learn a lot of interesting data at a very early stage before even investing into the products, into the molding actually. I'm running out of time, so I'll stop in here and I'll answer some of your questions. We'll answer most of the questions after Henrik finishes his side of the presentation. So stick here. And we also have a cool discount from our Pro plan to all the participants in the webinar. So if for some reason you decide to use the pre-launch, know that you have a discount, and you'll get this. Just use this promo code and you'll get 15% discount in all our plans. Right. So I'll stop
Listen.
in here. Yeah.
Dogs are cool. I should get one. But what's with their tails wagging all over the place like they're dusting? Wait, What if you could strap a duster to it? When the dog wags its tail, it would dust the house. Genius!
Thank you, Narek. Great presentation. And don't worry if you didn't get the promo code. We'll be sending the presentation along with the recording of this to all of you. Just a reminder, you can leave your questions in the chat. We'll get to them at the end. Okay. Henrik, over to you.
Awesome, Narek. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Derek. We're so excited about this partnership because pre-launch are so good at figuring out what product to develop, and then Gembah, we help companies develop those products. So it's a perfect fit. So just a couple minutes on who Gembah is. It's a collaboration platform and marketplace. So on one hand, we have a software platform that knows all the steps required to develop a new product. And then we have a marketplace of experts that are industrial designers, electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and then hundreds or actually thousands of factories all over the world, China, India, Mexico, Vietnam, Thailand, all over the place. So we will help find the best experts to work on a project and the best factory to work on the project. Why did we get started? Well, we realized that there's a lot of companies like, Amazon, Shopify, Walmart have made it really easy to start an e-commerce business. And Alibaba, you can argue, have made it easy to buy stuff that already exists. But if you are creating new things like our customers and pre-launch customers do, then it's really hard. There's not one-stop shop that exists to go from idea to finished product. So that's what we created Gembah. And we worked with over 1,000 brands to date. You may recognize some of them here. Hexclad is Gordon Ramsay's brand. Papa Shot, I'm sure you know, Mudwater. And we help them go from either idea to finished product, or sometimes they have an existing product and they come to us and just want help with the supply chain. But let's talk about folks that come in and want to create a new product. So a couple of questions people often have that they're asking is like, should I modify an existing product, or should I create a brand new product from scratch? And we'll walk through some of the pitfalls and some of the mistakes that people make as they go through this process. So there are 4 core phases really in developing a new product. From research, which part of that is what pre-launch does. Then you get into the product design, coming up with detailed design specs of that product. The sourcing, finding the factory that you want to work with or factories. And then finally going through the manufacturing process and making the actual product and getting it on your shelf so you can start selling it. So I'll cover the 4 pitfalls first, the mistakes that we see a lot of people make, and then I'll cover the 4 solutions that how to address those. So pitfall number 1, research. We see a remarkable amount of folks that don't do any research, that they just have conviction around their product, which is great, but you really must do research to establish, is this something the product that people actually want? What price point do they want to pay? Sometimes we see people doing some research, but they're very narrowly focused on some of the existing tools out there. And the other sort of the other side of that, some people over research and just end up in analysis paralysis. So I think it's also important to do your research, make a decision quickly, because time is more critical than ever. People bring things to market very quickly. So I think if you have an idea and insight on a specific product that you think consumers would like, we recommend to bring that to market as quickly as you can. Second pitfall, design. Sometimes people don't do design at all. They go straight to the factory and try to work with them. And that's a little bit like building a house without having an architecture. The odds you're going to get it all right are slim. The other thing we see is that some people go to a product design agency, which can be great, but often it's pretty expensive. And if that agency isn't closely related with factories, that we call it DFM, design for manufacturing, risk is that you end up with a beautiful design, but it's going to be impossible or not affordable to create. You're not going to be able to create it for the amount that you need if you have a certain selling point in mind. And the other risk we see here that happens sometimes, if you go straight to the factory, you get the factory to work and create the design for you, which may sound great, but the problem then is that the factory actually owns the design. So unless you have your legal agreements with them buttoned up, if they're doing the work, they're probably going to insist on owning it. So those are some of the pitfalls on the design side. Sourcing, it's with all the information available today with Alibaba out there, there's certainly not a problem to find a factory, but can you find the right factory, the best factory for you to work with, the best combination of quality and price, right? So that can be hard, and particularly now as you're looking at multiple regions, right? A lot of people are scared of China right now because depending on how the election ends up, we may have sky-high tariffs here within a year or so, even worse than there are today. Some people work with sourcing agents, which can be great too, but often the sourcing agent isn't quite transparent about how much the product actually costs and how much is their markup. Sometimes they're not willing to introduce you to the factory. And that's a big red flag, because if you're not talking directly with the factory, you don't really have any idea of where your product is manufactured, if there's slave labor, child labor involved, if they're terrible working conditions, etc. And finally, sourcing without sampling. If you're creating something new, absolutely have to go through a sampling phase to make sure that you know the quality of the product and the factory you're working with. Pitfall number 4 is that now you're there, you find your factory, you start manufacturing. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. Compliance and testing is essential, right? You don't want to end up with a product that hasn't gone through the correct product safety testing, so you can't sell it in the market that you're trying to sell it. QC, quality control, absolutely essential when you create a new product. To have feet in the street, people in the factory, QC experts that are reviewing the samples when they come off, and finally when production line starts, reviewing the product as soon as they come off the production line. So if there are any issues, you can fix those. The last thing you want to happen is to end up with a container full of products that don't meet your specifications, right? So those are some of the key things that might go wrong, which is, if you're not an expert, we recommend that you work with someone. You don't have to work with Gembah, but Gembah, well, we have, like I said, a platform that manages the whole journey from idea to finished product, and you have all that in a platform, all the design file, all the deliverables, coordinating with all the people that work on the project, managing the budget, etc., etc. And then we plug in all these experts and designers and factories into that. So if you're creating a set of headphones with solar cells on tops that charge themselves when you're out walking, we would bring in designers and team you up with somebody that worked at Bose or Skull Candy, or someone who's made that kind of product before. And that's super valuable, right? You can find an industrial designer anywhere, but does that designer have specific expertise in creating the kind of product that you're trying to create? If they don't, you're going to both be learning on the job. So finding that the right partner to work with is super important. All right, so that was a lot of the problems. Let's talk about the solutions. Research. Well, Narek just showed you prelaunch.com. What an amazing resource to help validate your concepts as you work through them. Highly recommend pre-launch, of course, and Helium 10, Jungle Scout, a couple of other tools, more data quantitative, where you can search on basically looking at Amazon data and see what products are trending, how competitive are certain keywords and things like that. So those are two good tools to use. Gembah, we have sort of a do-it-for-you approach. So if you're looking at a specific product category, be it a coffee maker or a baby bath or a set of headphones, we can help you go through multiple data sources and figure out what the opportunity is, figure out what features that might set you apart from other competitors, etc. But bottom line, whether you use Gembah pre-launch together, which I think is the best combo, make an informed decision. Get the data, understand the market before you invest heavily into creating a new product. So once you made that decision, get the design locked down. We believe in design, like I said before, DFM, design for manufacturing, is absolutely critical. So you don't end up with a design that you can't make, or you can't make it for the kind of cost that makes it affordable to your customers. And getting the legal stuff right. Make sure that you have ownership of the designs, so that you don't end up in a situation where you suddenly experience success and then you have copycats popping up all over the place. or the factory starts selling the product and you don't have ownership of it. Sourcing side, again, I recommend engaging an expert in your fields. There are a lot of sourcing agents out there, but have they sourced the kind of product that you're looking for? Also ensure that you have direct access to the factory. If you can't talk directly to the factory, if they're not willing to show the price on the actual purchase order, what the factory's quoting, if the sourcing agent's trying to sit between you and the factory, I think that's a big red flag. You got to make sure that you have access to the factory, because this is your partner. You're going to be working with them for a long time, hopefully. And as I said earlier, sampling, absolutely essential. We often recommend, if you're early in the process, get samples from multiple factories, because the cheapest is not necessarily the worst. Sometimes the cheapest can be the best, and the most expensive is not always the best quality. So important to go through a thorough sampling phase. And finally, manufacturing. You have to have experts on the factory floor that represent you. It's not enough to just have the factory do the QC for you, because they obviously incented to have the product pass and ship. So retaining a third-party expert to do quality control is super important. And then, of course, plan for logistics and importing early. Make sure you know it's going to take a month for your product to get to the States if you put it on a boat. If you do air freight, you can get a lot faster, but then, of course, it's much more expensive. But make sure you plan for that. So if you're trying to get a product done for the holiday seasons, that you consider all the different things that are going to take time. So that's it. That's the 4 pitfalls, the 4 solutions. Gembah can help with all of that. But if you don't work with Gembah, I recommend you work with another expert to make sure that you don't make mistakes, because mistakes can be very costly. Unfortunately, the majority of product journeys fail. And the sad part is that if you only fail on one of these steps, right, if you don't get the research right, you don't get the design right, you get to start working with the wrong factory, or your shipment gets lost, right? Any one of those mistakes can kill the product journey and be very detrimental to your business. So because we're a pre-launch partner, we are giving you this offer. A full product opportunity report. It'll give you multiple different concepts within a certain product category. This we sell for $1,500. We'll sell it at a $500 discount here. If you want that, please email me. You can email me directly at henrik@gembah.com. Email is down to the bottom right of the slide here, henrik@gembah.com. And let me know which product category you want to do research for. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. Daniel, I'm going to head it back to you for Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Henrik. Great presentation. Reminder to everyone, I see some great questions in the chat. If you guys have any questions to either Narek or Henrik, leave them in the chat. We'll get to them now. Okay, let's start with one question for Narek. Heather was asking, has a subscription-based pre-launch methodology hit saturation? Don't most consumers know the value of their email, and are they therefore hesitant to provide it?
Not really. I answered in the chat as well. So every day we see thousands of people, subscribing, putting down their emails, if they are interested into the product. So if somebody really wants the product and it resonates with them, they want to learn more. They're putting down, not only their emails, but also their dollars to reserve it. And that means that they are really into the product. It resonates with them. If it's not the case, then probably something is wrong. Then either the audience doesn't understand the value, it does not kind of convey the main value to them, or there is a problem with the description, with the concept. So we would recommend you go and then start testing a lot of hypotheses, bringing new customers to the page until you see, it improves.
Okay, great. Hope that answered your question, Heather. One for Gembah, for Henrik. iPhone was asking, is the platform free to sign up? Is there a monthly subscription or one-time fee? And Christos also echoed this question. What's your pricing scheme? He's filled out the forms, but he didn't find that info. He was very thorough.
Yeah, great question. So Part of the platform is free. We have a section of our marketplace at brand.gembah.com where we show product concepts that we have developed that are trending. That's free to sign up and browse. We're about to launch some other free tools that's coming out later this month. If you actually want to start working on a specific project, submit the form and we will get back to you with pricing. The reason we can't quote pricing is that it's a big spectrum, right? On the low end, a design project can cost $10,000, $10,000, and the high end, $100,000, $200,000, right? Depending on what if you're designing a spatula or you're designing a set of Bluetooth enabled headphones or a lawnmower, right? So it's a big range. But I can tell you that our average design project is about $20,000. Our average supply chain project hovers around $10,000. It can be a little less than that, it can be more than that, but those are sort of the averages.
Okay, great. And I guess the same question to you, Narek. What does a launch typically look like, and how does pre-launch pricing factor into that?
Yeah, so it's pretty similar to Gembah, I'd say. We have a free plan. You can register for free, play it with the platform, see how it works, etc. If you have a marketing team, you can pretty much handle it on yourself. We have a lot of AI tools. It's very intuitive. You can build the page, design it and launch it and bring traffic. We have this pro plan, which includes the concierge service as well. So this is where we have the service embedded and we have the team which does everything from A to Z for you. And typically we recommend for the first project to take this concierge service where you'll get the handle of it. You'll understand how it works, what's the best practices for there, etc. So you can register for free and get our demos, and you'll go over the pricing and then see. It depends on the number of projects you have, the number of tools you want to use, the number of subscribers you wanna get. But on average, it's around like $6,000 to $7,000 a year. So that's the pro plan subscription, and that's basically the most popular plan. But depending on how many number of products, projects, and subscriptions, it might go up and down.
Okay, great. And continuing with you, Narek, how long does pre-launch normally take? Jason was asking, to gather reliable data.
So in 6 to 8 weeks, you'll get already a really good data. So that's the amount where we have significant results. So the data is enough where you can, rely on them. So, and then after that, it depends on how many hypotheses you have, right? So you'll see basically how well you're doing, what's the current situation. And then it depends what you want to improve. Like then you want to improve the product, change it a little bit, add some new features, change the colors, come up with new bundles, etc. And every time, like each new hypothesis, which we call iteration, so every new iteration will take about 2 to 3 weeks. And then you'll see the data, and then you'll understand if you want to, pursue that direction or you want to pivot to somewhere else.
Great, thanks. And similar question for you, Henrik. How long do users normally spend launching a product on your platform?
Yeah, great question. So it can be as low as 3-4 months from concept to finished product on the shelf, but that assumes that it's more of an incremental improvement to an existing product, right? You're not designing an engine from scratch or anything like that. So often, but the typical design projects is 2-3 months, and then typical supply chain projects 3 to 4 months, and that's highly dependent on how many sample iterations you go through, right? So if you're super satisfied with the first sample you get, then it'll be faster. If you have to go through a couple of different sample iterations, it'll take longer than that. So it is dependent on the complexity in many ways, but it can go as fast as 3-4 months.
Great, thanks. Staying on you, Ellington was asking, does Gembah have a software referral service, both for firmware and app development? for hardware?
Yes, I responded in a message. Just email me directly, henrik@gembah.com, if you have partnership questions. But yeah, we have a whole network of partners that we work with and would love to discuss that with you.
Okay, thanks. Narek, back to you. Jason's asking, should you have a product sample before you do pre-launch, or can you do it if you just have an idea?
You need to be somewhere in between. So just an idea is hard to describe and how to, put value on it. So, but if you have the design of it and if you have some materials that really convey what the product is about, the sample is not necessary. The sample will help you to convey the value, to provide some more reliability and credibility to the product, but it's not really very necessary, I would say. So you can start even without a sample. But you need to have realistic renders, you need to have realistic images of it. If you have some videos, that really helps. So the idea is how you can provide as much information and visuals to the potential customers so they really understand what your product is about, they believe it, and they're ready to kind of, put down some small amount of deposits to get some kind of perks later on. It might not be only discount, by the way. It might be a kind of a complementary perk, a bundled product, an exclusivity. So some kinds, these kind of stuff. So it's not always a discount.
Okay, thanks. Henrik, Christos was asking, he's interested in doing assembly locally in Greece in the middle term to develop IP. They're scared of the learning curve and setup costs, and taking into account these pesky trade wars between China and the EU, USA, what do you usually suggest to Gembah customers?
Yeah, that's let's start from the end. We definitely see a lot of people in the same boat as you are really concerned about the trade wars and potentially increased in tariffs. We see a lot of folks trying to get out of China. We see a lot of interest in India and Vietnam and in South America here in the US. So I think you're thinking about the right things. I'm not sure that's one simple answer. We typically don't ship just components to a location, but yeah, please email me and we can talk more in detail. We do operate a la carte, so if you just want to use us to order some component of the product and then ship it to your own assembly factory, that certainly is possible.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting point. I was wondering that as well. If there's, if it's plug and play, you can use Gembah for some things and not for others.
Yeah, absolutely. We have, I'd say about half of us already have an existing product or an existing design, and they just come to us for the supply chain piece. And about half come in either research or design, where they want to take a concept and refine it.
Okay. Narek, Avert was asking, does pre-launch help with the content needed to do proper validation in the earliest stage of the product development process?
We help design the, like, you need to have the product materials and product visuals. If you don't have, we'll recommend an agency, to help you with the visuals. So we'll help you with that. We don't do it on our own, but we'll help you. If you have the visuals, we'll help you build the page, design it, and then you do everything ready with the advertising and etc. And if you don't have, we have partners who are working with us, so we'll probably recommend you one of our agencies which could handle that.
Okay. One Nate was asking Henrik if Gembah has a software development team as well. He's asking for those with both a hardware and a software product.
Yeah, great question. We have partners that we work with there too. So, for example, one of the products on our marketplace right now is an integrated bird feeder. So where you could, basically see what bird's landing, and the software could recognize the bird. In that scenario, we would do the hardware development, and then we would partner with the software development firm to develop the app that goes with that. So short answer, yeah, we can do it, but it's not an internal team that does it. We would work with one of our partners on the software side.
Okay, thanks. We're down to the last question. So if you guys have any more questions, leave them in the chat. Narek, Ben was asking you if, I think this was for you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. Do you find this works better for some categories rather than others? He has a product in the children's education space, and he's been told that this category usually struggles.
There are some hard categories that you're right. Yes, you're right. So typically, we found out that this works really good for B2C type of products. So if the product is intended for the end usage, like even if your business model is B2B, like you're not gonna sell it directly to the customers, you're gonna sell it to distributors or to wholesalers, etc. But it's a B2C type of products. That works really well for pre-launch. Why? Because you're able to get enough amount of target audience to your campaign page, right? So that's the main complexity. For B2B type of products, for edutech type of products, and for other type of products, that also works really well if you're able to get your potential segments of customers on the page. So if that problem is solved, then there is no problem. And the way we do this is that so we drive traffic with Facebook, with Google, and we're able to do like really niche targeting, but there's some categories which are sometimes really hard to find those people. So if it's possible, then it will work. Or maybe you have some list of people, of potential customers, and you could just email them and they'll come on your page. And on pre-launch, we'll record their behavior, so it will also work. So it's all about like how easy you can find a critical mass of enough customers so they come and reserve and subscribe to your products.
Great. Henrik, Andy asked a couple times, how much does it cost to look for a manufacturer?
Great question. I mean, if you just want the address, right, and contact information of a factory, we can do that for as little as $500 to $1,000. But in general, like if you're gonna want a response from a factory, you need to make sure you have the right design specs. Often they're not going to talk to you unless you have CAD drawings or you have an existing product that you can show them that you want to work from. And then, of course, then you have to handle all the communication with the factory alone. So general folks that come to us, it's because they want our help. We have local team in India, we have a local team in China that can actually help with the communication, making sure you find the right factory, make sure it's validated, a verified factory, and then help you through the process of ordering samples and going through production and all that stuff. So we can certainly help with just the factory address, but that's generally, if all you're looking for is to find a factory to talk to, then I'm not sure it's worth going through Gembah. Then you can go on Alibaba and find a factory.
Makes sense. Narek, Tatiana is asking, in her studio, she has many clients, especially startups that need market analysis and metrics before moving forward. How do you work with design studios? Should each client sign up individually? Or I'm guessing, can they sign up as an agency?
There are a couple of models, so I'll ask Tatiana to email me at narek@prelaunch.com, and we have a couple of models for the agencies and design studios. So depending on how much you're involved into the product, so you can be collaborator in every product, and then they can sign up through your account, or they can have individual accounts, but they might have some promo codes which will identify them as your clients. So we have a referral system and models for this kind of collaboration.
Great. And just a reminder, we'll be sharing this presentation, contact details, promo codes, and everything with you after the the webinar. Henrik, there was a follow-up question here that said they know it can go for $10,000 to $20,000 to develop a product on the Gembah platform, but if he's in the early stages of product development, research, validation, is Gembah still a good option? If yes, would it still cost that much?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do research too, you could probably assume it's going to be another $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 if you're really going to go through. First try to validate, find an opportunity, find a product category that you want to go after, and then you probably want to go through some concepting, test some different product ideas, and then you go into the actual design, which developing the specs, the CAD drawings, all that stuff. So add maybe 20% to that number if you're going to do research too.
Okay. And a follow-up question. I had a question actually about patenting on your platform. And there's another question here that kind of echoes that sentiment. How can we best protect our product idea before fully disclosing everything to Gembah or other manufacturers, especially considering the limitation of NDAs in China?
Yeah. Great question. So first, as soon as you start working with Gembah, you sign an NDA. You don't have to tell us anything until you sign an NDA. We have what's called NNN agreements, non-disclosure, non-compete, non-recruitment agreements with all the factories that are part of our network. Of course, there's no guarantee that you're going to stop copycats. I don't think so. But because we have worked with over 1,000 brands and these factories are part of our network and we have agreements with them and we have an entity in China, so we can actually go after them if they don't abide by their agreement. I'd say the odds of when you're working with a factory introduced to you by Gembah, the odds that there's going to be any copycat or they're going to compete with you are significantly less than if you just go at it on your own. That said, I can't guarantee, and I don't think anybody in the world can guarantee that another factory is going to kind of try to knock you off and do something similar. But I think that's just the world we live on.
Okay, thanks. Are there any final questions or? Okay, yeah. Nate is asking, how much does it usually cost to maintain a quality control agent in the factories?
Yeah, so if you go for Gembah, we usually sign you up for the whole phase, right? From finding the factory, going through the sampling phase, doing the QC compliance, all that stuff. And we typically charge $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And that may take, somewhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on the complexity of the product. If you just want to hire a QC person, exactly how to coach them and, know where you want them to go and what you want them to do, you can probably get that done for $500 to $1,000 to just hire someone and go into a factory. But if you want help with a whole process, then it's a little bit more.
Okay, thanks. There was a question I skipped here. Robert was asking Narek, I'm assuming, do you recommend creating a website before creating a product?
Creating a website before creating a product?
Yes.
No, actually, because you need to do it simultaneously, because if you don't have the product yet, what the website will be about. So you could have these coming soon sections, etc., and you could have just early stage concept, and you could have the wait list. But at least you need to be in the phase of starting it. So yeah, maybe like you bring the website sooner than the product in the market, but you need to have at least the visuals and then provide some materials to the people. Daniel, there's also a direct question I want to answer in here. So the question is about could we bring our own leads into the platform? And the answer is yes. Pre-launch has its own audience, by the way. We have about 1 million people where we share the products on a weekly basis, and then We get a lot of organic leads who come and subscribe and reserve the products. But yes, it's basically your page on pre-launch. You can promote it. If you have lists, you can promote them with your lists. If you have access to the audiences, you can bring your audiences. And the pre-launch is a basically convenience and analytics platform, which will show you if you're on the right track or not.
Okay. And is there anything provided in terms of competitor research?
On pre-launch, we have this AI market research where you put down the links of your competitors from Amazon. It's currently working with the Amazon links. And basically what it does, it goes and scrapes thousands of reviews and just summarizes them and gives you a brief summary on what people like, what people don't like, and what people want. So this is a really interesting kind of snapshot of understand the competitive analysis, the market, and what kind of features you need to put more attention to.
Okay, great. I think that's a wrap. That was a great webinar. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you, Narek.
Thanks, Daniel, and thanks for all the great questions. It was great engagement.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming. We'll be sending the recording and answers to all of these questions to you guys over email. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.